Guys, welcome back to the Hustlin' Horsepower channel. So we're gonna stop working on the car for a minute just to do some unpopular opinion video. And I don't know if you're gonna be completely
education.
I don't know if some people are gonna be completely on board with this, but I'm Hustlin' Horsepower, and I usually shoot stuff pretty straight. Okay, so we're gonna go over and talk about a couple things here, and basically pertaining to accidents in no prep racing. Okay, and we're going to focus on an accident that I did not witness firsthand, but I had some videos sent to me, and I've seen a couple videos. Okay, and we're going to talk about chassis setups and different things. Okay, so there's a big difference between a big tire car and a small tire car. Okay, a small tire car, you can see the rim right there. Okay, that's a 15-inch tall rim, normal size rim. Okay, they're generally 15s or 16s. Small tire, big tire, 15-inch rim as far as the height of it. Okay, and a 28-inch tall tire. That means we got 6.5 inches between the ground and the tire. Okay,
between the ground and the start of the rim.
And the rim. Okay, that means we have 13 inches or so of sidewall in that tire. Okay, I'm getting here. Okay, so we'll normally run that tire. Okay, you're also got to talk about the width. It's 10.5 inches wide. Okay, small tire. Small tires are a lot more stable than a big tire. There's a reason for that. The sidewall of that tire has a lot of energy in it, like a lot. Okay, we worked that sidewall of the tire to make it work and accelerate the car. The problem is when you unharness that energy in an uncontrollable manner, it takes a lot to do it in a controlled manner. When it happens in an uncontrolled situation, you're screwed. Okay? Now, before I get into any further this,
is that just like in basic terms like spinning the tire?
Spinning the tire, or unloading the tire, or rear steer in the car,
yeah.
Or like anti-roll bar setup, or like the preload in the car, or if you have more than a couple turns of preload in the car, like bad stuff's gonna happen, because I'll get there. Okay, so before we get too far in depth in this, there is rumors that the guy was the person that went into other guy's lane was drinking. Okay, and if that's a fact, I'm 100% against it. We've been to races where that has been an issue. Okay, I usually don't drink much because of my stomach issues, but at the end of the night, I might.
After we're done?
After we're done, I might have one drink or two drinks, but like, it's probably been, it's been years since I've been inebriated, okay? I don't drink. I can't drink, okay? So, if that is the case, that guy is 100% in the wrong. But, we're going back to chassis setups and things that need to be prevented as far as what the drivers and the crew have to do to prevent an accident, okay? Or knowledge that needs to be shared besides just blaming, I don't want to say that way. Knowledge that should be shared to help prevent accidents, okay? So, rear steer in a car, okay? A rear axle, in actual terms, should be 90 degrees or parallel, we'll say parallel, with your midplate, okay? With your motor, so that the power is operating at 90 degrees, okay? When you start making a lot of power with a big tire car, you can't do that, okay? There is rear steer in the car. You put the rear end of the car crooked on purpose, okay? When you start making a lot of power, you will like set up a car with preload in it right off the trailer, okay? Before you even go testing, you'll put preload in it. And you'll put rear steer in the car, which means on like a 4-link car, the bars are a little bit shorter on the right-hand side than the left-hand side, okay? That's to counteract the forces of the power going through the drivetrain, okay? Because the car, the way the power rolls and the way that the power is transferred from a linear motion to a circular motion, okay? Because your drive shaft is working this way and your tires are going this way. The way those motions work, you have to put rear steer into a car when you start making a lot of power, okay? Or even any amount of power, okay? Because the car is trying to drive crooked, okay? So you got to counteract that balance. When you're counteracting that balance and the surface is
not perfect.
The surface is not perfect, okay? You have to have a very conscious or very
good
understanding on how that stuff works.
Yeah.
Okay, and it is it's an art form. Okay, I was going to say dangerous, but it's not necessarily dangerous. It's an art form because a lot of different forms of sports or whatever are dangerous if you don't turn it into an art form. Okay, if you don't know the knowledge of how it works. Okay, people that go and do, I'll look at Travis Pastrana. He'll go and do 3 backflips. Okay, is that dangerous? Yes, but the guy's good and he's turned it into an art form and he knows how to do it. Okay. That's why you don't see some average Joe going out there and trying to do 3 backflips on a dirt bike, okay? Because they haven't turned it into an art form yet. They don't understand the physics and the logic and everything that goes into it, okay? And certain people that are able to accomplish certain things in life, they may know the details of it or they may not know the details of it, but they understand it, okay? They might not be able to go and quantify or exactly tell you things, but they know how the operation works, okay? They know what controls this and what controls that, and the reason for all that stuff. Okay, now let me reiterate. If that guy, because I know some of you all is going to skip through this video, if that guy went through and was drinking, that is 100% wrong. Okay, but from the videos I saw, that car had rear steer in it, which it should. Okay, because when you're working on a smooth surface with decent power and a big tire, you got to put rear steer into the car. Okay, so at the hit, the car made a very small move. Okay, this is all my personal opinion from seeing a couple videos that were like a matter of like 5 seconds apiece, right? 5-10 seconds apiece. It was a very short run. The 8th mile pass, they were probably on like, I don't know, probably 480 passes, or I don't know. We went pretty fast there at that track on small tires. So they were probably going 5.0s or something like that, right? With how fast we've been on a small tire, they might have maybe 5.0s, maybe 5.20s or something like that. So they put rear steer in that car, is what it appears to me, okay? And then the track isn't completely flat. It's an outlaw track. I'm not bashing the track in any way, shape, or form. But there's a reason why you have to run a car on a big tire car on the street or on even a small tire car. You have to treat them a certain way because it's all about putting a consistent pressure on that tire. If you can put a consistent pressure on that tire, well, then you can accelerate at the fastest rate of acceleration, because like the coefficient of friction, okay? If you know the amount of pressure that is on that tire. When you hit a bump, that tire becomes unloaded. It just is what it is, right? It's like going off a ramp. If you're running down your stairs, yeah, like let's say you're there's a platform, right? Like you're running down your balcony and there's stairs down there and you just run straight off of it. At some point, your feet are no longer be touching the ground, okay? And you're going to lose control of your body because where your foot was supposed to go wasn't there. So all the motions of the rest of your body are going to get thrown off, and you're going to have to like be fairly athletic to land on your feet still. If you put on a blindfold and ran off your deck, okay? You'd have to be like there's not many people that could do that, okay? It's the same thing with a car with a chassis, okay? If you set it up for one thing and you hit a bump or something like that, and it's a very hard it's a very difficult thing to do. It's an art form. But if that tire becomes unloaded, that car is very likely to dart this way or that way, okay? And we could go into things as far as like wings and stuff like that, okay? If you put a wing on a big tire car, you're loading that tire really hard, okay? When you load that tire really hard, or if it has a lot of downforce or the suspension setup you have in it, if you have a lot of bite into that car and it bounces, bad shit's gonna happen. It just is, okay? Like, I've seen it several times this year where there were wrecks because of that issue, okay? It's basically a big tire car is like a ping pong ball, okay? I wish I had a ping pong ball in my pocket, but I don't, okay? So, if you had a ping pong ball in your hand right here, okay? When you drop it, it's not going to come back up to here. It's going to come to here, okay? Now on the second bounce, it might come to here, third bounce, fourth bounce, fifth bounce, okay? It is the exact opposite when you're running a big tire car, okay? When that car unloads the suspension, it might bounce this high the first time. It might bounce this high the second time. It might bounce this high the third time, okay? The faster mile an hour you're going, the more distance you're covering, okay? So if that car gets any little bit sideways and the tire unloads, these big tire cars, they're running anywhere from like 5 to 7.5 pounds of tire pressure in it, okay? On a 34, 36 inch tall tire. That's a lot of air. and that's 22 inches of rubber between a fixed object and a fixed object, okay? Like the ground and the rim. That's about 11 inches, okay? It's about 11, approximately, we'll say about 11 inches or so between the rim and the tire, okay? And now you also have the rim to the tire on the top side. When that rim starts moving inside that tire, it is very, I don't want to say uncontrollable, but it does get into a weird oscillation, okay? If the car isn't straight and you unload that tire, you take the energy out of that tire by taking your foot out of it, okay? That tire becomes soft again, okay? It becomes malleable again, okay? And that tire, if it's crooked, that malleable tire is going to form to the ground, okay? It's going to roll over. The car's going to dip. That car was going straight, and then it started shooting out to this way, okay? If you lift, that car's going to dip, okay? That's why in like a blower car or something like that, okay? If the car starts getting sideways, you actually whack the throttle, okay? Some of y'all are going to think I'm nuts, and that's perfectly fine, but this is like real stuff, okay? You whack the throttle because the centrifugal forces will get that tire to go back to a circle. If you have that tire come back to a circle, you're going to still be sliding, but you're not going to be flipping over, okay? You're not going to be rolling. You're not going to be darting like that because you put the energy back into it. Unfortunately, on a track that's very narrow, it's very hard to do that, and it takes a lot for a driver to be on their toes enough that if that car is going sideways, that you have enough in you to whack that throttle and get that car stood up again, okay? I tried to do it in the dirty 30 when that car started washing out me. I tried to whack it a couple times, but we had 14 and a half, 15 and a half pounds of tire pressure in it, but we were a small tire car, and there's not a lot of meat between the rim and the tire. And to be able to do that successfully, you got to have a little bit of bite in the track to be able to throw the car back up, catch the car and be able to throw the car back up into a stable rate, okay? And it's an art form, okay? It's a very difficult thing to do, but it is something that's worth trying when the car's getting ready to roll, okay? You, as a driver,
nothing else. Yeah, if there's nothing else you can do.
When it's out of your control, to keep it in your lane, it's best to try to keep it like upright, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah.
He was out on that car by quite a ways, okay? Not to say it in a negative way or nothing like that, and not taking nothing against the other driver, but he was out quite a ways, okay? So, in that driver's peripheral, in my opinion, or like what I saw, he doesn't know that other car is there right now, okay? Of course, he went into the other guy's lane, and you do everything you can to avoid that. But when the car gets upset like that, okay, it's going that way. It just is. It's either going to roll over by its side, or if it doesn't have enough energy to completely turtle over, it's going to chop that way because the engine is still rotating, okay? The transmission is still rotating. The tires still have inertia in them, okay? That tire is not completely stopped. It's impossible to stop that tire like that. And if it is, it's a big tire car. So guess what's going to happen? The thing's going to bounce, okay? If you're driving 100 miles an hour, okay, in a big tire car, now sure as hell don't do this. If you're driving 100 miles an hour in a big tire car and you hit the tranny brake button to lock that car in reverse or neutral, and that rear axle stops on a dime, that car's going to bounce. It is what it is because of the energy in the tire. Nothing else, nothing more, nothing less, okay? So this is going to be 100% unpopular opinion, but these are facts, and I know a couple of you all are going to probably hate me for this video, but I shoot it straight, okay? And that's why some of the people like me, and that's why some people don't.
But the other thing is, there's a lot of information you can take from this to try and, like, better your own program.
Exactly.
And maybe Nick has just scratched the surface on a topic that go back.
I've most definitely just scratched the surface because I can go into detail on this.
Go back into that, and you can do your own research and maybe do your own testing or whatever, and figure out what changes you need to make to not, end up in a similar situation.
Yeah, so a small tire car on a no prep surface has its art form. Doing a big tire car where you have to store that energy in there, and you have to work the car, and you have to work the tire to make it successful, to make it 60 foot and make it launch and everything like that. That tire's going from X amount of distance, your axle center line, okay? That axle center line on a big tire car, okay? If it's a 36-inch tall tire, that's 18 inches off the ground, okay, is the axle center. When you let go of the trans brake, you're squatting the car and everything like that, right? So that axle is actually dropping in the chassis, Okay, it's opposite of a small tire no prep car. The axle is dropping on the chassis. When that axle drops on the chassis, you're putting the energy in the tire. That is what you're doing. That's physics of it. Okay, you're putting the energy in the tire to slingshot you forward, and the tire's going to do like this, like chop chop chop, and it actually slingshots you forward. Okay, and then that tire is eventually going to come back to a circle. But when you release the trans brake, that tire goes into like a square. Okay, kind of like, I don't know, kind of like a old, kind of like a D shape, right? The tire's flat at the bottom and still round up top because you put the energy in the tire, okay? And the tire's gonna like kind of fight over itself. And that's where you get into tire shake and running over the tire if you don't have enough tire pressure in it. But essentially you're putting tire energy into that tire to help you accelerate. And that's a big thing that is a misconception in big tire cars and fast big tire cars. So when you store that energy in there, bad shit can happen if you don't have it scienced out. Okay? And I'm not saying that driver didn't have it scienced out. I'm saying when you hit a bump, or if you have rear steer in the car and you hit a bump, now if you, let's say you have X amount of rear steer in the car and you hit a bump, okay? You're no longer putting those forces into the chassis. Now that chassis is not working like it's supposed to on a flat surface. So you hit that bump, that car might try to drive out from underneath you because it's designed or set up to be able to be the chassis to be loaded. When that chassis becomes unloaded, it's very dangerous, and that's why we have a VPS like the Davis VPS on this car to auto deploy the chutes and stuff like that. Too, if the car does get the chassis does get unhappy because of a improper unloading of the tire, the car's going to try to save us. Okay, I got my steering wheel right here. That blue button right there, that's my parachute button. Okay, I let go of the trans brake button, and then my hand's right here, and I'm driving. That if I'm ready to dump that chutes, I just hit the chutes. Okay, I could have two hands on the wheel. That's something I did just after we lost the Dirty 30. I actually bought all the stuff to do it the week before we lost the 30. And if I had that stuff on the 30, we'd probably still have the 30 because I could have hit that button and still had two hands on the wheel, you know, trying to steer that car. There's a lot of forces that go into the steering wheel and a lot of forces that go into things. And if you don't have your seatbelt strapped tight in your car, you can't feel the chassis properly. I don't care who you are, what you are, whatever. There's a reason why like someone like Dale Earnhardt drove with the open helmet. It's because he could hear and understand what the car was doing better with the open helmet. He could tell where other cars were in the thing, okay? Having seatbelts tight is very similar situation, okay? You got to be able to feel the car. You got to be able to feel comfortable in the car so that you can know what the chassis is doing, okay? And like this racing stuff is very difficult, and you got to really be on your game to be able to do it successfully. And then that's just the driving part of it. The tuning aspect of it is a totally different thing. Then the chassis tuning aspect of it is a totally different thing. And it's a very large misconception or understanding of how to, are you going to be the YouTube superstar? It's a very hard understanding to figure out the energy in the tire to make that car do what you want it to do. And when that energy in the tire becomes unreleased at an uncertain point, it's bad news bears, and accidents are going to happen, okay? Or at least chassis are going to get upset. So I'm going to wrap that up, and I'm going to leave the comments open because y'all are going to probably hate me for this video, but that's just straight stuff. So if you guys are drinking at the track, don't get in your damn car. But at the same time, please try to take something out of this video and look into the aspects. There's a reason why cars get set up quite differently, running like a top tier no prep car on the street versus at the track. The chassis difference are quite a bit different. People might not tell you all that stuff because it is competition, but there's a big difference in the way the chassis is set up and downforce and this and that, and the whether they run no tubes, whether they run liners, whether they run tubes. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it to maintain so you know where that rim is in correlation to the surface throughout the track, and be able to make your tuning changes, chassis tuning and power management tuning changes around that position. So guys, have at it, rip me apart. I'm gonna get back to work, and then we're gonna come back here and try to go swing with you guys in small tire stuff. See you soon.